All right. Well, thank you for having us, and thanks for joining me, Marie-Claire. I was wondering, you have a very interesting job, and I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what you do, because it's very complicated, and I think it'd be a good place to start.
So first, good afternoon, everyone, and I'm very happy to share with you this morning what we try to do link with sustainability inside the Caring Group. So in a nutshell, to explain my job, it's really key to understand that for our chairman and CEO, sustainability, it's really something key. He puts sustainability at the core of the business strategy. And what I try to do, it's really to give the framework to be sure that his vision linked with sustainability will become a reality. So for our brands, that the girl mentioned previously, from the watches and jewelry brand until Boucheron, Gucci, and this kind of brand, I try to be a sparring partner with them. So we give them targets linked on the environmental side to reduce our environmental footprint. We give them target linked with the social side, so to pay attention inside our supply chain. And we give them tools. So tools could be to measure their impacts, but also to work with startups, university, NGO to find some key innovation. And very quickly, what I would like to say is that what I love in my job, first, sustainability, it's a passion, because I have always worked on this field, but I come from the politics side. And what is very interesting when you are in a global company, you can make some proposals, you can implement them, so you can see also the results. I don't say very quickly, but you can see the result quickly. And when you are in politics, it's more for long term, so it's a little bit different.
Yes. It actually works, and it's actually seeing change. I mean, I think what I'd like to see then is like how you do this, right? Like if I was to say, look, here's my pants, I want to start making a new company making pants or whatever, and how do we actually know that that's sustainable, and how can you actually create a process by which you're hitting these standards that you want?
So first, we have really the feeling that sustainability is not an option, it's really key. Because when we are thinking about, I will say, the most important issue of our planet in our century, we are thinking about climate change, loss of biodiversity, resource scarcity. And so that's why in our supply chain, in our processes, we put in place a way to measure our environmental footprint. So we developed what we call the environmental profit and loss account.
Okay. That's really cool. I mean, so this is something that you're able to see across the entire supply chain, how things are actually shaping up. Like, how does that work, or how do you score people?
Very quickly, when you are in the classical environmental reporting, you are speaking about a liter of water, a ton of CO2. But in fact, you don't measure the impact on society. In our way of doing the calculation, we measure our environmental footprint not only in our own operations, so it means stores, it means offices, but you measure also in your entire supply chain, from tier 1 up to tier 4. Tier 4, it means cattle farming, cotton farming. And you give a monetary value to your impacts. Because imagine you are using a liter of water in France, in Normandy, you don't have the same impact in comparison to using 1 liter of water in a place where it doesn't rain. Okay? And after, what it's key, we speak in a monetary value, so we speak in euro, because also to have, I will say, a common language with the financial community, it's key to speak in euro or in dollar. And it's also a very powerful tool to identify a clear cartography about our supply chain, to identify priorities, and after to put action to reduce your impacts.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what's so important, correct? Because being able to assign a monetary value to sustainability each step along the chain is the only way to really make change, because money is what will actually make a difference, right? So I was curious, why is it important for a company like Caring to actually do this? Like, what is the use at the very top level?
As I tried to tell you about sustainability, what it's key, because we have the feeling that if we want to continue to develop our business, again, linked with the most important issue like climate change, resource scarcity, we know that in our business, we have, I will say, the needs to use the best quality of raw materials. And we know that if we don't change our business model to be more efficient, more eco-efficient, we won't be able also to continue the business. So it's good for ethics reasons, but it's also good for business reasons. And we have also the feeling, because we are in luxury, we set the trends, so we have this specific responsibility to really implement sustainability and to really show to our sector, but also to the other sector, how much sustainability is key. After, we have also to keep in mind that fashion industry is the second most polluting sector after oil and gas. So you imagine that it gives us also a specific responsibility to change the things. After, it's not easy, link with our EPNL, we discovered now a few years ago that over 90% of our environmental impact is not in our own operation, but it's linked with our supply chain. So it means that less than 10% are really linked with our own operation. So it's also change management. You have to work in a different manner.
Yeah, I think that's something that is important for, as a shopper or consumer, right? Is that you don't actually know where everything came from and you don't know what the impact is of anything you bought. Like whatever I'm wearing today, I have no idea about any of it because the tag just said it's made somewhere and that's that, right? So having that insight, I think, is really powerful. But I'm curious, has it been hard to try to do this? I mean, it's been, you've been working on this for years now, and how hard has it been to try to change this within a company?
I say the first thing, you have to be sure that inside the company, your top management is involved. Because again, beyond sustainability, it's a lot of change management. So if you don't have the commitment from the top, it's really impossible. After, I will say it's something where consumers are also supporting us, because above all, the millennials are asking more and more questions. They are more and more demanding about traceability, about the social condition for the worker, which kind of impact you have on the planet. But if I have to say the two most difficult things, first is to change the status quo, because when you have seen that how much of our impacts are linked with the supply chain, you understand that you have to work with the suppliers. And sometimes the suppliers are working with hundreds and sometimes thousands of other companies. So you need to have a collaborative approach. And historically, above all in the luxury industry, it was not the case. You have to work on transparency, so it's also a new thing. And traceability, I will give you only a concrete example. When we are speaking about leather, we are of course using a lot of leather. But leather, it's only a byproduct or a co-product of the meat. And today the regulation is linked with the food. So the meat, above all in Europe, you know where it's coming from. But you have no regulation linked with traceability for leather. So you have to build your own chain with the food industry, with the slaughterhouse, and also to explain how much it's important to put in place the traceability. But I will say it's really a long path, but we can see that not only the customers are pushing us, but also the investor community are also pushing us with, I will say, more risk management approach than always ethics reason. So we are in an ecosystem where people are more and more demanding.
Yeah, I mean, I think leather is the perfect example, right? Because, you buy a cheeseburger from McDonald's and who knows what the cow came from. But then we're starting to see in meat that people want to know where their meat came from and how it was farmed and everything. But there's no traceability in leather, and it's starting to change. So I'm curious, is this something that consumers actually want? This is actually an opportunity that people say, I want to know where everything came from?
We don't have, I will say, quantitative studies on that, but what I can tell you is that if you ask a question to our people inside our boutique, they will tell you that all over the world we have more and more customers who are asking questions about traceability, the way that is produced, where the raw materials are coming from. And we have also more and more questions linked with animal welfare, for example. So that's why we decided at the beginning of 2017, when we put in place our new strategy in sustainability for caring with, I will say, a target in 2025 to have a full traceability of all our materials, because it's the first step. If you have the traceability, you can implement sustainable criteria on the environmental side and the social side. If you don't have traceability and you don't know the country, the region, on the farms, of course, you are not able to do that.
Of course. And what are some of the other things that you look for or metrics that you have for actually knowing that you're hitting? What are the goals you're aiming for?
So
in terms of like the specific areas of success that you want to have?
Another area where we are working a lot, it's about our tanning processes, because you know when you are doing tanning processes, you are using heavy metals like chromium, and you have, I will say, the hexavalent chromium, that it's not good for people, that is not good for planet. So we have invest a lot to have, I will say, a tanning process without heavy metals. So now we are able to have, I will say, between 2 and 3 methodologies to do that. But of course, we have to continue to improve to be sure at the end of the day we will have the same quality. What is something very difficult in the luxury, it's not only, for example, to remove the most hazardous chemical products, but to be sure that at the end of the day you will have the same quality, because we are in luxury. After, we link with innovation, because one of our pillars in our new strategy, it's innovation. We try really to work with a lot of startups. So we have joined this year a kind of coalition called Plug and Play. It's Plug and Play Fashion for Good. It's a kind of incubator. They are based in Amsterdam. And what it's cool, it's to identify, for example, startups which are able to do a kind of leather based on mushroom. So we can imagine that if we have the quality, not next year, but in the next years, we will be able to do leather based on mushrooms. So you can reduce your environmental footprint. And of course, for animal welfare, it's really great. We have also a startup who are able to do some colors, some dyeing, only based on microorganisms. So for the chemical products, you can remove them. So we really try to have, I will say, a broader approach. And where we have also invested, we have created what we call a materials innovation lab.
Okay.
For textile and fabric, where we have a library now with over 2,000 of sustainable fabric that we can propose to our brands. And we invest also to identify new raw materials, new fabrics.
That is really cool. What is something, your favorite thing that you've had come out of the lab, or what's something interesting, some crazy fabrics?
So for Crazy Fabric, we have companies that we work with in the material innovation called Econil. So with the object to do the fish, you are able to do fiber. We have also, with the Material Innovation Lab, working with a startup called Worn Again. When you are able, I will say, to recycle fiber of cottons and of polyester, so it's a kind of holy grail. At the end of the day, with old clothes, we will be able to have a new fiber and to continue like that. So
that's cool.
many things like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. So
it's a little bit in disorder, but I will say the message is it's really to say we are open to all the kind of innovation, because without innovation, we won't be able to reach our targets.
Exactly, and I think, is it something that you had said before, that people obviously care a lot about quality in the luxury space. So when you're trying to change so much, what kind of impact can a luxury brand even have? Are people going to accept this? Do they want changes, or do they just want the same thing that they're used to?
Yes, that's why also I think it's important for people, but also one thing I would like to underline, it's also important for the next generations of people who will work in our industry. So I will say, if you are a startup and you want to put in place a company, I think it's really key to put sustainability from the beginning. It will be easier than to say, I develop my products, and after, oh, sustainability, where is it, what I can do? So in our, I will say, perimeter of responsibility, that's why we develop a lot of partnership with schools like London College of Fashion, Partson in United States, Tsinghua in China, really to give the framework to the new students and the new generations.
That was exactly what I wanted to ask you next. So we obviously have a lot of startups and founders and people here trying to create new things. So what is it that you want to see in the future? What is your advice to people to try to build more sustainable brands?
First, I would like to be convinced, but I'm sure that all this audience is really convinced that sustainability, it's not an option, but it's really a necessity. If you develop your own business or if you start your own company, really put from the beginning the sustainability in mind, because again, it costs less and it's really a way to stimulate innovation and creativity. And after, I am convinced also that everywhere on the planet, regulation will increase with this topic. So if you are in advance and if you have anticipated, it will be really better than, I will say, to wait that the regulation is coming. After, I think we have, as a huge company, this responsibility also to share what we are doing. So if we find an innovation, not to keep for her, but really not to keep for us, but really to share. So that's why when I was speaking about the PNL, we put in open source our methodology, our guidelines, and our innovation. We are ready to share also with this new generation to help them and to support them to implement really sustainability and not to have, I will say, different stage or to do some research. Sustainability also, it's linked with transparency. So if you put in place your own business, you have also to think to share what you are doing also with your, not only, I will say, your shareholders, but also with your stakeholders to really have this kind of sustainable ecosystem around you.
And I think that's what's the most important here, right, is when you have a framework that is open, the more people that use it, the more impact it has, and it builds on itself, right? So, cool. Well, I think that's actually us running out of time here, but it's actually fantastic to talk to you, and I know you'll be around if anyone here wants to talk as well. So, in any case, but thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
So,
thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. There we go.